We're looking at a map of the Roman Empire at its absolute peak. Holding this massive amount of territory together required extreme, almost obsessive organization. Rome's early military relied on a seasonal militia. These were landowning farmers who bought their own varying gear, heading out to fight in a rigid, Greek-style phalanx formation during the summer and returning home to harvest their crops in the fall. That system eventually cracked. When Rome pushed into the rough, uneven hills of central Italy or faced massive waves of migrating Germanic tribes, a seasonal militia of farmers struggled to keep up. The rigid phalanx fractured on bad terrain, and Rome suddenly found itself facing a catastrophic shortage of fighting men. The solution came from this man, Consul Gaius Marius. Facing a severe crisis that threatened the survival of the Republic, Marius realized that part-time citizen soldiers were a dead end. Rome needed a permanent, professional, standing army. His fix was incredibly practical. He threw out the old wealth requirements and opened recruitment up to landless citizens. Since these new recruits couldn't afford to buy their own weapons, the Roman state paid for it, issuing everyone the exact same standardized kit. By removing personal wealth as a barrier to entry, Rome replaced an unreliable, disorganized militia with a completely standardized, replicable military machine. A standard Roman legion of 5,000 men was divided perfectly into 10 cohorts. Each cohort breaks down into 6 centuries, holding exactly 80 men. The exception is the double-strength first cohort, packing over 800 senior veterans. Those veterans had a very specific job. They were trusted to guard the Aquila, the sacred golden eagle standard you see here. Losing this eagle in battle was considered a disgrace so profound that entire wars were launched just to get a stolen one back. Managing this massive force required a rigid chain of command. At the very top sat the legatus, a senator appointed directly by the emperor. But the actual day-to-day operations, the food supply and logistics, were handled by a camp prefect. Out on the field, the true operational backbone was the centurion. Each century had one, acting as the primary commanding officer. They were supported closely by specialists like the optio, a second-in-command, and the signifer, who carried the unit's visual signals. This exact mathematical hierarchy meant that an army of 5,000 diverse individuals could communicate, pivot, and strike with the terrifying efficiency of a single unified organism. At the very bottom of that hierarchy was the individual legionary. They grimly referred to themselves as Marius's mules because of the staggering amount of weight they carried: cooking gear, days of grain, and heavy wooden stakes for building camps, all strapped to their backs. But the state made sure they were well protected. They wore the lorica segmentata. As you can see in these layered, interlocking iron plates, the armor was brilliantly designed to absorb heavy blows while still giving the soldier enough flexibility to move quickly. Their main defense was the scutum. This was a massive, curved rectangular shield. When a unit pressed tightly together, these large curved faces locked seamlessly to form an impenetrable wooden wall. Before the infantry clashed, they threw the pilum. It looks like a standard javelin, but the long, thin iron shank is designed to bend on impact. If it hit an enemy shield, the heavy, bent iron would weigh the shield down so much that the enemy had to drop it entirely to keep fighting. For close-quarters combat, they drew the gladius. It's a short, 2-foot stabbing sword, engineered specifically for the incredibly tight confines of a shield wall, where swinging a longer weapon was physically impossible. The heavy infantry marched with a diverse support network of auxilia, fast, non-citizen cavalry, archers, and slingers. They also brought along immunes, highly skilled specialists like doctors, blacksmiths, and architects. They even brought their own heavy artillery. These torsion-powered engines, built from massive wooden frames and tight rope coils, acted like ancient sniper rifles and mortars to break enemy lines and smash fortifications. Perfectly engineered gear and a diverse staff of technical specialists transformed the legion into a fully self-sustaining mobile city. Of course, giving 5,000 men lethal weapons and heavy machinery means nothing without order. Keeping that mobile city functioning required a ruthless internal culture of physical and psychological conditioning. Drill was constant and exhausting. Recruits trained for months using heavy, weighted wooden weapons, repeating the motions until they were pure muscle memory. The historian Josephus actually noted that Roman drills were essentially bloodless battles. That discipline was held together by a highly calculated mix of terror and reward. A disgraced unit might face decimation, where 1 in 10 men was beaten to death by his own comrades. But perform well, and a soldier earned regular pay, chest medals, and the ultimate prize of a cash bonus or a plot of land upon retirement. That organization didn't stop when the fighting ended. During peacetime, the legion served as the empire's primary labor force. They carved out the massive network of stone-paved roads that connected the distant corners of the Roman world. They engineered the repeating stone arches of immense aqueducts and bridges. By literally building the infrastructure, the army physically anchored Roman logistics and culture into every new province they conquered. It also acted as a powerful engine of assimilation. For the non-citizen troops serving in the auxiliary units, surviving 25 years of service earned them a bronze diploma, transforming provincial subjects into full invested Roman citizens. By standardizing the gear, mastering the logistics, and strictly enforcing a mathematical chain of command, Gaius Marius created a hyper-organized blueprint. This system conquered the ancient world and laid the foundation for how modern professional militaries are structured today.